So far, we've talked a lot about how to get sound into your system, into the system so that you can record it. But now we're going to talk a bit about getting sound out of the system. You're a guitar player and you've got your acoustic all set and tuned and you're ready to lay down the best track of your life. But you need to hear what the rest of your band did in previous takes. How are you going to do that? Well, you could play through a speaker into the room and try to follow along with that. But if you're using a microphone to record it, the microphone's going to pick that sound up too, and it's going to make it a lot harder for you to mix it in a way that's clean and clear. So instead, we're going to use headphones. These headphones are great for studios because they are closed back and they don't leak sound in the way that some other headphones might. But you'll place them on your head and you will plug into this device here. This device is called an HP2 and it's a headphone amplifier. It has a few controls on it, and on the back there's a few ports and a button. By using this, we're able to get sound from the mixer into these headphones. And we can pick what sounds go into this. We don't just get the whole mix. So let's say you're a bass player and you really just want to hear the drums. We can do that with this. We'll show you how to set that part up on the mixer, but let's finish getting this going. So to use this, we're going to make sure our headphones are plugged in. There's a port on the front. It's labeled phones on the top of the box. Go ahead and plug in there. You're going to set your volume to start in the middle. And you'll make sure your pan is set to the middle as well. There's a couple more connections we need to make before this will work. We've got power here, so we're going to plug that in. We also have this cable, which is a pretty special cable. On this end, we have a connector with 5 pins, and on this end, you'll recognize these as XLR or mic cables. So we're going to plug this end into the port on the HP2. It only fits one way, so line it up and then gently twist it until it's in the right place. Go ahead and seat it, and then there's a ring you can tighten to make sure it doesn't come loose on you. Once that's done, you're going to take this end to your snake or directly to your mixer, and we'll show you what to do with them there. Make sure you use the power button to turn the device on. It's a simple press. It'll turn on, a simple press to turn off. There's a green indicator light here to tell you if it's on. Now that we've made all the connections on this side and we've made sure that it's turned on, let's go to the mixer and see how we get sound to it. Now that you've got your headphone amplifier, the HP2, plugged in at the performance side, we're going to show you what it takes to work with it here on the mixer side. Now, the important thing to do is to make sure that you plug those XLR cables into a mix output. On the back of the mixer, you're going to see a label that says Mix 1, L and R, left and right. So on the right side of our mixer, you'll see a row of buttons that says Mix 1 through 12. We just plugged into Mix 1, left and right. So I'm going to make sure that Mix 1, left and right, is selected. You can tell it's selected by the blue light on the button. If the blue light is not lit, or the blue light is somewhere else, you've not selected Mix 1, and you're going to want to make sure to pick Mix 1. Remember that layer A is your input to the mixer and the recording system. These numbers, 1 through 24, match the numbers on the back of the console. So if you plug a microphone into input 1, it's going to show up here on IP1. Remember, we have multiple layers though. Layer B is playback 1, and that is coming from the computer system. So if the computer system is playing a sound back to us, that's where we'll expect to find that. Why is this important? Let's say that you've got an acoustic guitar and a keyboardist who want to record at the same time. You can do that because a keyboard is a plugged-in instrument. It doesn't create any actual sound in the room, and the acoustic guitar does, and you're going to be recording it with a mic. Well, the keyboard player needs to be able to hear the acoustic guitar player. So let's say we have a keyboard on 3. With mix 1 selected, I'm going to bring 3 up so that the acoustic guitar player, who's plugged into number 4, will be able to hear them. Acoustic guitar player is using mix 1. So now we have a keyboard going into mix 1. We also want the acoustic guitar player to hear himself. He's on input 4, so we're going to turn up input 4 as well. After they play a little bit together, the acoustic guitar player, who's using mix 1, says, I need a little less keyboard. Okay, great. We'll just bring the keyboard down a little bit and allow them to try again and see if the levels are right for them. Once we've got good levels there, we're going to go to layer B. We've already recorded drums or some rhythm track for this song, so we're going to make sure that the other instrumentalists stay in time by feeding them a little bit of that rhythm track from the recording software. Let's say that we've got the rhythm track on playback 3 or playback 3 and 4. So we'll feed them a little bit of playback 3 and 4. This time we'll have them play along with the recorded track to make sure that they can hear what they need to hear. They can hear the rhythm, but they can also hear the existing the instruments that they're playing right now. Once you get that all balanced out, then you can go to the next player. So the keyboardist is on mix 2, and we've set up a totally different headphone system and a second amplifier, the whole thing, and we've plugged those into mix 2. So we'll press mix 2. Now notice that these jumped to a totally different place. So layer A is all the way down, but layer B already has some stuff in it. What happened? I lost my settings? No. Mix 2 is a totally different mix. So if I jump back to mix 1 on the right-hand side of the board, you'll notice that it saved our other settings. Mix 2 is a new set of settings for only the keyboardist to hear. And the keyboardist, frankly, doesn't really like hearing anybody but himself. So we've turned a lot of the keyboardist up, but we're going to leave the acoustic guitar on input 4 down at the bottom. We're going to jump here, and keyboardist, again, doesn't really like to hear much other than himself. So we're going to give him just enough drums to stay in time, but we're not going to do more than that. You can make these adjustments at the same time. So have them play a bit together, and then ask, acoustic guitar player on mix 1, what do you want to hear? Make those adjustments. And then ask, okay, keyboardist on mix 2, what did you want to hear? And you can make those adjustments. Now notice it saves our settings on mix 1, mix 2. Now mix 3 is a totally different set of settings. We're going to clear those out real quick. And so with this, you can have as many mixes as you have outputs on the back of the console. Right now, I believe we're set up for 5 outputs. So remember, make sure you pick the correct mix on the right-hand side of the console. On the left side, remember we have layers. If you've never worked with a digital console before, a digital mixer before, you're going to find that these two things are where you're going to get mixed up the most. Eventually, it'll become like second nature, but right out of the box, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to this. So, if you're confused, stop, take a minute, check your layers, check your mixes. Remember, you're choosing who gets mix 1 and mix 2 and mix 3. These are decisions you make when you plug in cables. And if you get confused, go back, start at the other end, and work your way towards the mixer. Follow the signal path, and hopefully that will help you figure out what mix is what.